everybody. Welcome back. And this is Taryn. We have Rick and Todd there and Di. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties here, but we are back on the original Direct Talk. Yes, there they are. How are y'all doing? Todd, Di, how's your weekend going so far?
I'm great. How about you, Di?
Oh, I'm doing just great. Thanks.
Good. Well, again, I can't thank you both enough for coming back on here. Now, I know that the viewers probably are having issues with my camera, so disregard my screen. I don't know who that guy is, but we'll go through with this. This is how we do it. So catch us up, Todd, Di. How's life been treating both of you with this whole kind of weird situation we're going through right now?
Di, you go first.
Well, I was thinking to myself earlier today, there are so many things that we could talk about, obviously. And then I stopped and I thought, well, maybe what we could talk about is, have we ever seen life so foobarred or snafu'd than what we're seeing now? I mean, literally, guys, have you ever seen anything like this? I don't think I have. I mean, I have seen a lot of things. I'm at an age where, I sound like the old grandma, actually. I have seen a lot of things in my time, but wow, this year has been really, really nuts. I don't know that it hasn't been a good year. There have been good moments. I think we've all had good moments. I had the birth of a baby of my nephew, my brother's child, and my brother died very young. And now his son has had a baby boy, and that was a very wonderful thing for our family. But other than that, there's just been a lot of stuff going on that hasn't been great. But that's my big question. Has anybody ever seen so much bizarre and not such great stuff in their lives in 1 year?
I can't go there, Di, without talking about politics and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I can't. I was telling Rick the other day, it's like, I've never seen anyone carry signs for a president in my lifetime. I'm going on 60, and no one's did this for Nixon or Kennedy. I mean, like, what the F? Where did this come from?
I don't know. We're in a very strange time, and it's an unsettling time, which is probably the hardest part for those of us who have been around for so long. I don't know how the young people are feeling about all of this. For some reason, many of them really, really are not caring about the COVID, because I honestly believe that they do not think it affects their lives, which I totally get. I totally understand that, even though it does very much affect their lives, because it affects our lives. If they carry the virus, we are potentially at risk. But you remember when we were young, we did all kinds of things that we shouldn't have been doing. I mean, heck, I shouldn't have been doing sun. And now, 6 skin cancer surgeries later, I'm going, oh, well, teenagehood. But there are so many different things that are going on. It seems like every day now, it's like escalating so quickly. Every day there's something that comes up that is just like, what? What is this? So I think that's probably the biggest thing that is on my mind right now, no matter where it's coming from. There is just so much strange and very unsettling material right now in our lives. Don't you think, Todd? I mean, seriously?
I do. It's like almost like a Twilight Zone episode. It's like I'll say, like in February, I'll say we're in a different world right now, and like what the F happened? Yeah. What's going on? And I was getting my hair cut the other day, and asked this woman, like, what about Santa Claus coming up?
Exactly. Now, someone else is on here.
Who else is this person?
Yeah, who have we got on?
It's a woman working out.
I can't imagine why anyone would work out with Taryn.
Who is this person?
I'm Kristy Wegert. Di was actually one of my spin participants years ago at LA Fitness.
Oh my goodness. No kidding.
How are
hello.
you?
Hello.
I remember you being a big Kiss fan, and I was like, I asked Taryn the other day, how did you find Di? I remember her from years ago.
Who's the puppy? I see a
That's
puppy.
Phantom. Yeah, she's my crazy dog.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name's Kristy Wegert. Todd, you and I friended each other a while ago just through knowing Taryn. I think we spoke once about a client.
Do you go to Family Life Center?
Nope.
Okay, that's where I know Taryn.
Yeah, she's LA Fitness. And Kristy, were you also the Doors fan?
Yeah.
You were, okay. Got it. Okay. Yes. Oh my God. We talked about, with the Doors, we were talking about the keyboardist who had just died. And I don't know about y'all, but the Doors, of course, I mean, who doesn't love, right? I mean, every time Riders on the Storm comes up in the car, I'm just like so in heaven, I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about a life that was cut too short. That guy could sing.
So if you haven't been to Asheville, there is a Bob Moog museum, the Moog keyboard that Ray Manzarek played on. And
Really?
It's fabulous. Yeah. So like all the synthesizer music from the 60s to now, they talk about the history of that keyboard that Bob Moog created, and it's amazing. It's really interesting.
Wow.
So I don't work at LA Fitness anymore. I'm just a solo personal.
Hey, you know what? I haven't been working out there all year because of the virus. So I'm not going in a gym. I'm sorry. We've created our own little workout group, and we call it our driveway fitness group. And it's actually with Missy McKinney, who also taught at LA Fitness. And she's a friend of mine. So we decided, she said, girls, do you want to start our own fitness class outside? This was when the virus they started shutting things down. And all of us were going, well, heck yeah, we really need to start working out again. It'd be fun and we need it. And she said, well, I need to as well. So we started the class out in the driveway. And so we have not stopped. We have not stopped all these months later.
No, nor have I, but as you can see, I have this in my phone.
Okay.
That was set up before COVID. I've been doing this for a little over 7 years, and I can't stop. I love it.
Well, no, none of us are going to stop. As a matter of fact, my husband and I have run into you as you're running on the streets, so we know you've never stopped. We know. Definitely, we know. We've exchanged hellos as you've run by. So
that's true.
Yeah. So we were just talking about how strange this year has been, and how it seems to be getting even stranger as the days go by. We don't know if you've noticed that or not, but in our opinion, we think things have kind of been getting stranger as the months are going by here. So,
agreed.
Yeah, but we can talk about the vaccine. That might be a common topic for us. I personally, I'm going to just raise my hand and give you my opinion. I don't think that any vaccine that is hurried, because vaccine development normally takes more than just a couple of months, because you have a human factor in there. Most people don't realize that when you do a 30,000 person trial, which is the final stage trials, that the vaccine experiment is not over until every one of those 30,000 people is counted in their either placebo reaction or actual vaccine reaction. And that does not happen overnight. And I don't think most human beings are realizing that. So when they talk about having a vaccine come November 1st or in October, the reality is that is not true. It can't happen. So, hello, how many of us are going to take that vaccine if it's here before November 1st? Anybody? Anybody?
I might wait for the second round.
There you go.
Doesn't it normally take like 11 years to develop a viable vaccine? And it's
Well,
usually like
you know,
97% fail rate.
yeah, don't you know?
Yeah.
You know what's very interesting? I read up on this, and I continue to read up on this on sources on that are not opinionated Republican or Democrat publications. I read very scientific publications, and I'm sure Taryn knows how this is working on his doctorate. But believe me, I have to read these articles because they come from very well-respected publications. I have to read these articles at least 5 times to get a grasp on them. Okay, so that's how you know. And I'm a pretty smart person when it comes to reading materials because I am a health and fitness and business writer. So, and have been for 40 some years. But anyway, this is what's interesting. Yes, vaccines used to take years and years to develop. I believe the last COVID vaccine took like 6 years. Ebola took 10 years, something like that. But here's the deal. In the interim, what scientists have been working on, virologists, epidemiologists have been working on, is taking pieces of viruses and extracting their DNA and RNA and creating what they're calling platforms. So now they have started to accelerate vaccine development by, instead of using live pieces of virus, they're able to use these special platforms they've developed. But the understanding is that virus is going to take probably a year and a half or more to develop one that has effectiveness. So, and here's the other thing that I think is really, really important for people to understand, because right now he's been pushed to the back of the room, which is not good. But Dr. Fauci, Anthony Fauci, was in on that original development. So when he talks about this, we still need to listen to him because this is the guy. And Moderna, the company Moderna, was the first one to start working on this. And they are working on the vaccine. And believe it or not, because certain politician in our lives claimed he didn't know about this, and of course now that's been disputed, they knew about this at least in December.
Are you talking about President Dum Dum?
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm not going to say his name because, I won't say it, but you're welcome to. But since he claimed he didn't know about it to keep us from panicking, the reality was they did know. The virologists and epidemiologists around the world had put out, they communicate with each other. They're everywhere in the world. They heard that there was something in Wuhan, China. They immediately got the breakdown on the virus that the Chinese circulated around the world to the virologists, epidemiologists, and they broke down that virus. And they immediately started getting that to people who could start working on a vaccine and an antidote. So this happened, it was December 31st. When the American virologists and epidemiologists got the message. And the one found out at a New Year's Eve party and said, excuse me, I'm going back to the lab. We got a situation. And of course, then it went out to all of the national security advisors. And they started talking about it in the first week of January. And a company named Moderna, who Dr. Fauci had started working on the different virus platforms, went to work immediately first week of January. And they started testing first trial vaccines. 2 people have now come forward and are talking about it. They were the first 2, a man and a woman, and they started those in March. There you go. That is, so the vaccine, and I don't have any friends who are willing to take that first vaccine. and not until it has had the time it takes to actually possibly work. And you know what? I don't know that I want to take something that we don't really know what it's going to do either. I really don't. So AstraZeneca did come out today and said, we're back on it, because the woman who apparently had the, what was a spinal cord thing happen, apparently they've decided, they didn't say, mind you, but so either someone pressured them to get back on it, or they really have decided that it wasn't the viral thing that got to her spine, but they are back on it as of today, this morning's news. So, but here's the other thing, y'all, and this is really important too. I was reading about this in ARP's publications, and ARP's very important when it comes to news, especially health news, political news, all the news for people over 50. Guess what? We have to have our own vaccine.
Really?
The one that is commonly distributed will not work for us. So that's another thing. We need to have a vaccine specifically made for an older immune system. Now, older doesn't necessarily mean worse. Many of us are in great shape. We're healthy, all of that. But because our cells are older and our immune systems are older, we do need to have a different type of vaccine. And it does need to be in a different form. Now, they are working on that as well, but are you hearing anything about that as far as, you know, the pre-election vaccine? No. So, but in the meantime, you know, everyone's talking about, the epidemiologists, the virologists are talking, and Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, they are all talking about, be sure to get your flu vaccine, because you're going to need this, because it's going to be a double whammy. So, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. This is another problem we're going to have, is the anti-vaxxers and the people who don't believe that the coronavirus is still a thing. I was reading an article yesterday. I won't say who said it, but let's just say it was at a rally that happened yesterday. A rally, and they basically interviewed a couple of people, and they both said, we don't understand what this thing is. You know, this thing's done. Why do people keep talking about it? It's done. And it was a hoax to begin with.
I love how you treat him like Voldemort.
Really?
I'm
I'm sorry, you guys. This is Rick. I had to join in on this. I hope you don't mind.
He who shall not be named.
He shall not be named. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, are we Harry Potter?
You know, I'm sorry, but we have a problem here.
That's
Why
really
are
awesome.
we not, you know, we're ignoring the gorilla, the elephant. Well, how many more animals are in the room? Okay, you know, how many can there be? The room is getting crowded. This stuff, you know.
I know I'm kind of jumped in here, Di, but do you mind if I ask a question? This is Rick.
I can see you, Rick.
Hey, I had to join. This was so fascinating. Would you, if a vaccine came out, would you take it? Or what would it get to you to have to take a vaccine? Like, all of a sudden they come out, you know, they come out and say, we've got a vaccine ready. What would it get you, to convince you to take that vaccine? I'm just curious, because you know a lot about this.
Next year.
Time. It would take time, right?
Time. I will take the vaccine if next year. If they come up with one next year. I would also like to know if it's one for over 50, preferably over 60. It's
over,
you know,
60, 50. I don't want to go any higher than that, though. Can we just keep it at 50?
I mean, look. I'm
over 40.
Okay, I'm just talking facts here. So,
yeah, but hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah. So, but something's better than nothing, you know, really. I mean, when it comes to this thing, it's another interesting thing, y'all. And people, I know someone literally, and I'm staying at least 6 feet from her at all times. She actually does do some exercise, and we're outside, mind you, and I stay 6 feet away from her. But she is someone who believes this whole thing is mostly a hoax about how sick you can get.
No.
I just found out she's 50. She's going to be 51 here next month.
She's young.
And she
Children.
says that she doesn't care if she gets it because it's just going to be, like getting the flu.
No.
So, and she has 3 children who are young. One's a teenager, 2 are 12 and under. So when she said that, I was shocked that she would say, I don't care if I get it, And so she goes to soccer games and her kids play, and she's with all these people who, really don't believe that it's anything. Like they say that it's kind of like it's over and who cares because it's really nothing anymore. So this is the mindset we have now. And I do think there are a lot of people who are there. They're just there. And this is what they think. And they really don't. And here we have almost 200,000 deaths. I don't get it. How many people do they need? And of course, they also believe that many of them that we should just do herd immunity. So what's the big deal? And after seeing a marvelous interview with Matthew McConaughey of all people, interviewing Anthony Fauci, you can Google it on the web. It's fabulous. It's this very informal interview. Matthew said, hey, I just want to ask you, and I know a lot of people have questions. Could we just sit down? And Fauci's in one place, he's in another. He said, could we just sit down and I ask you questions and just answer and just talk about some things that people have questions about? And Anthony's like, sure, fire away. He's the nicest guy. So Matthew asked him these questions, and so many of them the answers were so interesting. And he talked about how if we were to go for herd immunity, he said, here's what you have to realize. He said, millions of people would die.
Right.
Just to achieve herd immunity. He said everyone with diabetes would probably die. Everyone with any kind of heart issue would probably die. And everyone who is fat, he didn't say fat, but I'm saying would probably die. People don't realize if you see documentaries of the doctors and nurses in the hospital taking care of COVID patients, you will not believe how many obese people are in there. You will. But obesity is a deadly factor with this. Any kind of kidney disorder will die. So he just went into how you're basically, if you decide to go for the herd immunity, you are basically giving a death sentence to millions of Americans.
Millions of people. I mean, that's basically what happened with botulism in the Middle Ages. So many people died. I mean, so many people. You can see the population of the world go down during that time period because so many people died. And then eventually the people that had the immunity survived. But that was a pretty high price to pay for that, right? Is that what he was saying?
And now people inject it in their faces.
Everybody uses that term herb immunity. I heard somebody say the other day they were calling it herb immunity. I think it's herd immunity. It's not like we're doing herbs. We're not going to be immune to herbs. It's herd. They kept saying herb immunity. I'm like, that's not.
Ground. Yeah, it's herd. Yes, please, it's herd.
But if you look too at the percentages of people who have been infected so far, which are pretty low for a category 2 pandemic, if we had herd immunity, which is about 60%, how many people is that just being infected? How many are going to spread across our borders? So it's not just the individual who's getting sick. It's everybody else they're in contact with that they didn't give a shit about.
Right.
So
absolutely. It's just
it's intolerable.
We got to
Do you guys know anybody who's had it personally?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Have y'all talked to people who had
it?
Yeah.
I do because we've talked about it, and it's terrible. It's a horrible way to die, and it's a horrible sickness to go through.
Yep.
So it's just there's
my mom had it. My mom's an elderly person, and she had it, and she got through it. But it was tough. She had to sleep sitting up. We were afraid to put her in the hospital. It was really touch and go there for a while. And she's in her 70s, but we were like, scared, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't like it was a cold or a flu. It was horrible. It was a horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And here's the thing. This is the other thing I've been reading about, and I really got a grasp on that. I think most people don't realize. Now, you probably know that it's about the spike. There's a gentleman on this planet that knows Dr. Fauci and knows he was trying to decide. What are you laughing at?
This gentleman.
This gentleman.
Come on.
The gentleman and the spike.
Up.
Okay. There is this virologist, this epidemiologist. He was trying to decide, am I going to study pneumonia or am I going to study the coronavirus? There are a lot of coronaviruses, and each of them is responsible for these different diseases, none of them good. And they kill a lot of people in the world. So, but he decided he was going to study the coronavirus. And the thing about this, and you've heard Anthony Fauci talk about this, he talks about this as a real demon. He says this one is the worst he's ever seen. And basically what they're talking about is this one has a spike. It's all about that spike. And this spike, when this virus gets into your bloodstream and gets into your lungs and gets into the different parts of your body. They also say it gets into the kidneys, and now they're finding it gets into the heart and the brain. What happens is the spike, the cap on it breaks off. And then that spike is used to pierce the cell, and it can morph into different shapes. And that's why it is so wicked, because it can attach to that cell with a hook. It can attach in all these different ways. That spike is alive, and yet it's not, but it grasps that cell so tightly that it can make that cell take on its characteristics, which causes the cell to die. The other thing that happens is it's not just one coronavirus cell that will attack one of our cells. And one of the scariest things I've seen is an electron microscope photo of a cell being attacked by the coronavirus. And the virus, it's a good 1,000 viruses that have attacked this one cell. And the cell is just screaming for help to other cells. And they show how it deforms because it's trying to reach out to other cells for help. And basically the cell is so smothered, it's commits suicide. So that's what happens to the human cells. And I got to tell you, seeing that photo of that electron, 300,000 magnification of all those viruses clinching that human cell and watching what they call the cell dying of suicide because it just cannot withstand what the cells are doing to it.
So if what you're saying is, and I want to understand this because I think this is important, like HIV attacks just CD4 cells. It's totally geared for that. But what you're saying is coronavirus, it's like it can hit different types of cells. Like it's just not, that's what, I mean, HIV is bad enough, but it's totally focused on one type of cell.
Any cells, right.
Any other cell, but coronavirus can attack different type of cells. Is that what you're saying?
Any cells.
Wow.
Any of them. Yeah. And of course, some people, it affects the worst of their cells. Other people, it doesn't, and they're lucky. And some people, immune system are able to handle and don't go into the cytokine storm where the cell overcomes it so much that it starts attacking itself.
That's why it's so unpredictable, I guess, then, because it goes to all these different areas.
Yes, and that's why Fauci says this is a beast. They've never seen anything like this COVID-19. It's absolutely just so destructive to what it can do to human cells, and they're just, it's a pandemic. If this thing goes on and on, a lot of people. We've got almost 200,000 people in the U.S. who have died. When is enough enough?
Right.
When are we? When is this actually going to be something and why is it being politicized? Why?
Everything is politicized. The
You're
tribalism
right.
is helping Dum Dum.
Right. Everything is.
Voldemort.
Everything.
Voldemort.
Yes, Baltimore. President Dum Dum.
What is that? It's what? I'm sorry.
I said he's President Dum Dum.
And he's just, well, it's so funny because it's like he didn't want anyone to panic over this thing. So he said he didn't know about it for what? How many months? He didn't know about it. And now he's talking about how we're all destroying the towns. We're burning and looting and killing and
He sure wasn't afraid to
mass
vote
everything.
panic about those caravans coming to the borders either, was he? I mean, he was like, "Oh my God, caravans!" You know, so he wasn't afraid to.
You know, gee, there's no panic over that, is there?
No,
It's
no, we
like,
gotta stop those caravans.
No,
But
I know. Gee, all those children just might go on a rampage. All those 3 and 5-year-olds, you know. Oh my God, it's just hysterical. I mean, I wish actually it's not, but part of you is just like, what? It's just crazy. But this, of course, is really something. And then what's just been revealed this morning is that the White House also told Health and Human Services, they put one of his former campaign managers in charge of now a new section of Health and Human Services. Actually, they discovered that this has been done, who are now to go through all the CDC's reports and modify those to make them look better.
really,
Yeah. So now the reports cannot come out unedited.
so it would seem like the idea is he's trying to downplay it because his number one tool in his arsenal has been the economy. The coronavirus affects the economy negative. So that's probably the angle. He doesn't want this to impact the economy negative. Is that probably the way he's going, I guess? Is that what you think?
I think it's just another issue he doesn't want to deal with. That's my opinion. Politically, he wants to be able to say, like so many in the White House, that this is under control. I think that's, you know, and that it's not a campaign issue. I think he just doesn't want it as a campaign issue because the fact is it has gotten so out of hand. But it's not, I don't think it's something that he wants to have to address. You know, he'd rather just talk about how the country has become so lawless and is a bunch of marauding, you know, thieves and villains and killers.
Lots of times when we talk to supporters, though, they always hide behind the economy. Like, well, the economy's good. The economy's good. It seems like that's one thing. But coronavirus has been like it's really, you know, obviously it's hurt the economy. So I guess he feels like that's why it's hurting him. You know, if the economy's hurt, then coronavirus has hurt him, you know, and then he wants to talk about lawlessness instead. But
right. Well, yeah, bait and switch. Why not? You know, and you know what? It seems to be working for him. So why not?
Weird.
You know, it's just like the, you know, the military thing came up. And honestly, I remember when all that happened. This was reported. This is not new. I remember when a lot of this was reported.
You mean the Atlantic article?
I'm sorry,
Are you talking about the Atlantic article? That article?
Oh, yeah. No, this, yes, okay. The losers and suckers thing. This is not new news, you know, and I don't know why it made a bigger deal before, because there was stuff said about this before. And so I knew about it. So I'm assuming some other people did too. It's just finally come to light in a bigger way. And I think that is just horrifying. To me, that is just awful. Just awful. And for him to say, you know, to John Kelly at John Kelly's son's gravesite, what was in it for him? Oh my! To me, that's just jaw-dropping. You know, these people. I'd like to see Tammy Duckworth get up at one of her rallies and speeches and say, "Hey, dude," you know, and go, Tammy Duckworth, and give her name, rank, serial number, and outfit with her 2 fake legs showing and give her military information to everybody and then say, Mr. President, I swore to protect you and everyone in this country and my comrades in arms. Now here, I want to give you a proposition. Meet me on the battlefield in Syria and squeal
But he's
like
got
a
that
baby.
bone spur thing, right? He's got that bone spur thing.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
squeal.
that bone spur thing from the 60s kept him from going to the battlefield, right?
Vietnam, right. He was 5 times he deferred, from what I understand.
Right. So that bone spur.
Yeah, the bone spurs were really killing him, and he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
John McCain had his shoulder broken, but he had a bone spur,
Oh,
so.
yeah. And John McCain was captured, and he said, I don't like that, that John McCain. And from what I understand, when they wanted him to lie in state and lower the flag, Donald used quite a few White House staff because he did not want that. Yes, Kristy.
I'm going to raise my hand.
I'm going on, but this is all fact. And I remember when that happened too. He used the F-bomb. He did not want John McCain acknowledged that way. He used the F-bomb a few times.
Where's Taryn?
Yeah, Taryn, are you here? We're going on and on. We have so much.
I know, and I just jumped in here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we like you, stay. But where's Taryn?
Yeah, Taryn.
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Taryn.
Okay, I wasn't. I know you guys can't see me because as soon as I added a third call, I guess Skype's limit for video is 3. I didn't realize. I've never done a video blog with more than 4 people. So as soon as I surprise die with Kristy, it kicked me off. I didn't know if y'all could hear me.
We can hear you. So 1, 2, 3. So there's only 3 of us. So we can hear you, Taryn.
Yeah, when I hit, I think that's why my video was acting all weird. Did you see that, Kristy? There was some strange. It was like a possession of my video.
It's like somebody from TikTok hacked your Skype or something.
Oh, Kristy, you're funny raising your hand. But yes, Kristy.
Just wanted to know where the host was.
I mean, I have no idea, even if I'm showing on. This is the first time I've used my phone to do Skype, So
it looks good.
But
now, let me ask you, Rick. You would know.
Does
Zoom allow more than 4?
Zoom allows more than 4, but for the free account, you only can use 20 minutes for more than 2 people. All right. So if you wanted to do like this for Zoom, we would be cut off after 20 minutes unless we got the paid account. Is that what you guys? But you guys understand it?
Okay.
I've never done. I tried one at a time. So
like if Taryn, if you wanted to do a Zoom meeting, and I guess Skype, I don't know if Skype's going to cut us off about talking about Zoom on their channel, but I might just slap us down. But if you wanted to do a Zoom with one other person, you could do the free account and go as long as you wanted to. But once you add another person, it's a conference call, and you only get 20 minutes on the free account.
Okay, gotcha.
But I think Skype, I didn't know Skype had this. I mean, I thought I didn't know they had a limit for 3 or more, actually, either.
It could be the recorder that I'm using. I'm using something called Ecamm Recorder, and it gave me a weird message when I was bringing Kristy on, and it added her in. It said your bandwidth is maxed out. We advise that only, and then it didn't. That's why my camera wasn't turning on. I didn't even think y'all could hear me.
Yeah, I saw
it was weird. My microphone wasn't working either.
Activated on your little picture.
Yeah, I was doing that just to be safe because I didn't know if, again, like if I was messing it up. Because there was like background noise. Did you hear that background noise when I was on earlier?
I also saw the basketball players. Like I said, lucky one.
That was weird. That's the first time that's ever I've never had that happen to me before.
Really
I've never seen that.
That was really strange. I was waiting for them to start taking their clothes off.
I was worried.
Well,
still watching.
Yeah, really.
Well, Taryn, since you're the host and I am just a guest for the moment, popping in to say hello and surprising Di because it's been years, I can scoot so you can ask everybody questions.
No, I think y'all did wonderful. This was the perfect video blog. I think this was great. This was.
Oh, we
you guys
did?
went more than 30 minutes. That was perfect.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. It was right at 30 minutes, so I think that's
Well,
perfect.
thanks for letting me jump in. Just what Di was saying was so fascinating. I hope you get mommy jumping in with
And
Todd.
you guys saw each other today in public.
No, I mean, I'm the same. Yeah, I agree. I found it
I
very
I
fascinating.
couldn't help
That was
myself,
probably one
Di.
of the
You
funnest,
just pulled me
best
right in.
times.
I couldn't resist.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm remembering everything correctly, but this has really been my thing, because for some reason, I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. And I believe that people need the correct knowledge, because people, I was reading the other day that one of the problems we have in this country too, because we are so politicized and people really will not see the other side on things, is we're a culture now that does a lot of TikTok. Everybody does Reddit. Everybody does. I don't. Personally, I don't read my headlines on Facebook. I actually read publications, and people don't do anything more than read headlines now. And they read headlines in the publications that are their beliefs, out of publications that are their beliefs. And I really believe in looking at journals and publications that are really talking about the realities and the truth about scientifically about things. I've been reading about the Diamond Princess and what happened there. And believe it or not, our president is best friends. I'm sure this doesn't surprise you. Best friends with the owner of Carnival Cruise Lines. Carnival Cruise Lines, for the most part, owns every boat you've ever heard of, except, I think, Norwegian Cruise Lines. They own the Diamond Princess. They own just about every boat on cruise ship on the seas. And he's great friends with this guy. They have a lot in common. They both had rich dads who basically gave them the business. And these Carnival Cruise Lines, his cruise lines have been in a lot of trouble, but they're registered in foreign countries. They do not pay American taxes, and they don't have to abide by American laws for safety, or they have no employee benefits at all.
That
They have
sucks.
no laws that protect their employees.
That sucks.
So the employees were the first to get the virus because they stay in cramped quarters and they have no protective equipment for doing anything. So it's very interesting, the cruise line story, the story about how the vaccines are being made and what the issues are and the challenges, and so many other things, and how the virus works and why it's so dangerous, and the background of Anthony Fauci and why he is really the authority on this. This man is considered, one of the top authorities, and for good reason. So I'm reading so much because I'm just devouring it.
So have
Because
you?
to me,
Oh, Anthony Fauci. Have you guys? Because I'm a big fan of his too. But have you noticed, like, when his first interviews he started doing this summer, he sounded like this and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, poor guy. But then he had that vocal cord surgery, and now he sounds like a DJ. If his voice is like smooth as silk, man, I'm like, dude.
yeah.
I mean, I thought it wasn't him talking.
Yeah. And Kristy, you probably recognize trash vocal cords because you're in the fitness industry, and a lot of instructors get that from that constant need, to speak so loudly.
I've never been a yeller. I hated yelling. I will turn the music down not to yell at people, but being a personal trainer, I don't have to.
You don't have to do it, yes. But so I knew he had some vocal cord problems, definitely. And of course, while he was doing that, the White House changed the rules for
when he was under anesthetic, that was a pretty
They
sneaky
did it.
thing.
Right.
Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah. So it's, the whole thing has just been serious, what I call cluster shag, because you can't do the other thing. So, it
What was
has
that word
been
again?
just-
Cluster.
Cluster
What was that word
shag.
again? Cluster.
Cluster
All right.
shag.
Okay, that's the word I can use with my mother. Thank you. I can.
Yeah, exactly. I use it publicly because, and everybody laughs because it gets the point across, but I don't have to be, I can be a lady about it, I guess is the explanation.
Lady die.
So, but it has been, it's like been the biggest ever. Really, it's just been the biggest ever. And I'm sorry, but I do compare him to Nixon. Nixon was absolutely, the man was, anyway, he was beyond. And you know what? Kent State, I've got 2 words for all of these people being armed, for bringing in the military, for bringing in the Border Patrol, bringing in anyone who has weapons to protests and rallies. And my 2 words are Kent State. I don't know if you guys remember, but 4 people dead, shot by the National Guard. And that is, and I don't want to end anything on a bad note, but this is going to happen if this continues. And it already has started happening. That 17-year-old coming into the protest with his AR-15, seriously. And this is the conversation about that has basically stopped because he was a patriot. So this is the thing that I think about as far as this goes. We're close. And Kent State, 2 words, honest to God. And younger people don't realize what I'm saying. I always tell them, look it up. So
that's the first sign that when you start using the terms like younger people that we're getting older. Is that right? Is that they're like, the younger, the youngsters out there.
History repeats itself. And
I actually used that word the other day. I said, well, what are the youngsters doing? I go, oh no, I'm turning into my dad. I actually use that word.
People, what are the young people doing? Because they see the world a different way, and if they don't understand the ramifications of this stuff, but their lives are going to be so totally different. So they're gonna work it out their way, and just like we did. Our parents, we just shocked our parents. They were just, we terrified them.
Smoking weed or drinking.
So.
Thanks for letting me jump in on the conversation. I'm going to put my Aquaman, cool Aquaman mask back on. Yeah, you got to have a cool mask. And so I'm going to go and let you guys finish. Thanks for letting me jump in.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Rick. Anytime, for heaven's sakes. And Kristy, it's been great talking to you. What a nice surprise.
I know. I was so excited when I saw you coming up on the interviews. I was like, I know her. I'm going to ask Taryn how he knows her, because I know her.
Wow. It's a small world. It's a really small world.
If you start singing Kumbaya, I'm coming over.
Yeah. Haven't done that in a while, but I'm happy to know we could talk about the vaccine. That is, we'll see what happens on that. That is yet to be determined. But I definitely wait until I'm going to wait definitely till at least next year on that thing. I'm going to let that go around, and you know what? From what I understand, you guys, only 27% of the population, when they go ahead and take polls on that, only 27% of the population has said they would take it in the first round.
No way.
So it's not just us. Of course, a lot of those are anti-vaxxers, and they don't help anybody else. So
I shan't be a guinea pig for this boy.
No, we will not.
No.
We will not. No. And they got to know it. It is not something that we're going to mess around with.
Thank you all.
No
Bye-bye.
way.
Thank you.
So anyway, guys, it's been delightful talking with you. And Kristy, what a fun thing that you joined us. And Todd, I love talking to you.
I know. Always a pleasure. Always fun.
Yeah. I got a crush on Todd, Kristy. We just always are able to talk so much. So, All right, y'all. Have a good afternoon. I'm going to go exercise.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Thanks, Taryn.
Thank you, Taryn. Bye.
Bye, Terry. Thank you.